Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's August 14th, 2022. It's a little after noon right now. We've been real busy working in the forest, working in the gardens, and building roads and that sort of thing, and doing hugelkultur pits in the forest. But I mentioned before that I was going to try and not neglect the food forest, which we have neglected a great deal this season so far. And I've shown little bits of the food forest areas in some of the pond video, but I thought I'd just do a quick walk through the areas so you can see where we're at, what's being neglected, and just see how things are going out here in the forest. So we're at the driveway entrance, so the gardens are over in that area, and then we go through where the bioremediation canals are. So over on this side, over here, this is a Honeycrisp apple tree, and I've got to remove the cages because they're outgrowing the cages, and so that's one of the things I'm learning over time is what's an appropriate mechanism for protecting the trees at various stages. Years ago, we had lots of deer rub injury when the deer are rubbing the velvet off their antlers and all, and that really damaged a whole bunch of the trees on our property. And so I started using tree guards, removable tree guards, and then various types of wire cages. Like this is very similar to the tomato cages. This is just a 2-foot in diameter cage. And I've made quite a few videos in the past about how to prune the various fruit trees and all. So central leaders or modified central leaders for apple trees, vase shapes for many of our peaches and plums and apricots, sort of a modified central leader for our cherry trees as well. And I've come, and I always left the trunks. I would prune off all of these lower limbs, but what I've observed is that through some neglect and me not pruning off these lower limbs, the deer come through and browse, and of course they've been browsing all along through the cages on the limbs as they start to grow out some. And these lower limbs all survive each year, and the caliper of these limbs grows each year. And I'll show you on another tree or two as well. But that helps to reduce the damage when the deer do a deer rub. They'll snap off some of these lower limbs as this tree gets older, but they don't damage the trunk enough that it's going to really hinder the growth and development of the tree over time. So, and one of the things I would say is some of our apple trees this year will be completely loaded with apples, and some of them will only have a few apples on it. So, we have seasonal productivity, and I don't know all the variables why that is. And along the canal system is our asparagus, and there's lots of weeds along there. Here we have one of our hardy kiwis. This is a female here. We almost never get any fruit off them unless we purposely try and get some. This is one of our Illinois mulberry trees right here, and so next year this one will be loaded. It did produce this year, but not lots. And so you can see here we are, these ones haven't matured, but the birds are so smart that they know exactly when to get all of the seed and all. And this is one of our cherries. We have multiple cherry trees around here. This one did get some brown rot on it. That one got a little bit of brown rot on it as well. But the birds got just about all the cherries. Here's another cherry tree right here. And this one does pretty well as well. This is our larger Illinois mulberry, and this one I've had for several years. We had wind damage multiple times with this mulberry tree where it was 3 trunks that all got damaged and ripped. So we do what we can do. But I've learned about pruning these. Like, for example, you see you have some embedded bark here. So this limb is going to have to come off. Here's one of the mulberries here. It's under the canopy. So, and it isn't fully ripe yet. So the birds haven't gotten this one. I'm caught in the sun, maybe you see it better. So they'll be a nice dark purple when they're fully ripe. But the birds are all over this tree, all daylight hours. So let's walk up here. So apple, hardy kiwi, cherry, mulberry, cherry, apple tree here. And one of the things is, and so this is another tree. I let the lower limbs come out, and I got to get the cages off of these trees. And this is, oh, dang it, I just pulled off the spur there. That's terrible. So this is damage from wasps. So wasps get in here and eat these like crazy, and the deer eat all the lower limbs. Right here we have a Russian mulberry in here, and I haven't let it, I've let all the weeds show up over here. So that's all new growth this season that we see there. Next season will be loaded with small mulberries. All around hidden in here, these are hosta berries in here, and they've already finished their fruiting. An apple tree inside of this one here with all the weeds around it. This is one of our older red delicious apples here, and I've gone over pruning these in the past. This is a Kiefer pear, I think. Let me see. Well, I can't read the label. It's been beat up so much, but it's one of our pear trees. Pawpaw tree here. Aronia berries here. Hoping some of this stuff shows up. Apple tree here. More aronia berries here. Another apple here. Honey locusts, and down in here that's lemon balm. Down there the grasses are growing up all along in here. More lemon balm. All along in here, the base of these ones, oregano down in here. Oregano all over in here. More aronia berries here. And of course the deer grab a hold of these and get the berries, and they'll pull these limbs right off. More oregano down here. Aronia berries here. Apple tree that for 2 years now I have not done appropriate pruning with. This is one of our Macintosh apples here. Again, here's a wasp. Hopefully you can see him there. He's inside of this apple, and they hollow them right out and all. And they just get after all of them. And so I got to come out and harvest some of these, because we use the apples, apple slices for a lot of our baked goods. See, I just noticed this lens is dirty. Well, I don't know how that's going to work out. So what was I going to say here? So we use the apple slices. We used to make applesauce out of the apple slices and then use that for all our baking, but we've been using the apple slices now for years. And so every day we have chocolate, usually brownies and all, as a dessert at the end of the day. So this is an example of one of the apple trees that we left the lower limbs on. And although the deer have done deer browse damage to other trees, and I have pruned off some of the limbs, are there any where the rub marks are here? Like here there was a limb that came out over here, and now I just leave, since we don't want to eliminate the deer from the forest and all. And this one was loaded, all the lower branches had plenty of apples on them, and the deer come and take off all the lower apples and all. So this is another one of the Mac varieties here. I really do like those, but the wasps are at them right now. And so that goes crazy, it gets a little bit crazy. We'll get into some of our berries over here, and there is well, I guess we'll just zigzag back and forth. Inside of all of these weeds, there still may be a live pawpaw in there. And yes, there still is. Oh, dang it. No, this is a peach tree. Sorry. There's a peach tree right here. Here's a pawpaw right here. And the Japanese beetles have hit this one a little bit. More apples here. This is our row of blueberry plants that we took the weed mats off this spring. Are these some of the wasps over here? So these wasps here parasitize they actually parasitize the eggs of some of the stink bugs that we have here. So we do have the marmorated stink bugs, and they have gotten a couple of our apple trees. Actually, this one right here, there's lesions on these apples here, and I try taking them down and letting all of the deer have them at nighttime. The peaches, we didn't have much luck with this season. We'll show you this. And you see this apple here, I should have pruned this. You see how these limbs are just laid right over. I really don't care for the dwarf and semi-dwarf varieties because they really need so much more care than our standard ones. Here's one of the swarms from this season right here. Hopefully the lens is clean enough that you can see this. It's not a big swarm, it's a small swarm. These are all black currants in here. We never got to, never got to harvesting any of these black currants, but we harvest them from the pots and all. And in here, so this is a peach here, apples, cherries, honey locust. These are blueberry plants in here in amongst them. Another honey locust next to an apple there. All different varieties of apples. Another apple tree here. Another apple tree here. Another peach here. Apple. This is a plum over here. Let's see what else we got here. So go through and we'll get over by the red currants over here, red currants right in here, and there should be a peach down in here, but everything's grown up, all of the weeds and all, and, you know, I'm embarrassed that I just don't take care of. Same over here, another peach tree I put in here. These are ones that we've been growing from seed, and it's still viable, but it's challenging. Another peach tree here. This one gets the curly leaf each springtime, fungal disease, but otherwise does pretty well. This apple tree was completely loaded, as almost every season this one gets loaded with apples. But the deer reach up on their hind feet here, and they just pull them off. And I didn't prune this one on purpose, and you can see some of the apples around in here. Lots and lots of beautiful green apples. The marmorated stink bugs, they go for all of our red apples first and not the green apples. I'm sure they will after time. Here's our blueberry patch, so here's one of the Patriot blueberry bushes here. Honey locust, blueberry trees, Canadian hemlock with poison ivy on the main stalk. The hives. So this is one that there actually was a swarm that actually really developed a whole started setting up their comb over there, which I took off. The swarm did, the colony did move out, but I put a lot of their brood comb in there, and there's some of their honey and pollen comb in there, which was not very old. Got it into this hive, and the colony, although small, has started up. This is a hive that keeps swarming, and these are places where the bees are coming in and thinking about setting up shop in these two hives right here. So enough of the bees for right now. This is one of my favorite apple trees right here. Absolutely delicious ones. The more red on them, the more of the stink bugs will go for them. The wasps go preferentially for in the beginning of the season, go for them as well. Let's walk over here pretty quick. So we just walk through this part of the food forest here, the first food forest. Our pear trees, I took the cages off of these ones, and the deer have been going right after these guys as well. So this pear doesn't have a whole bunch on it. And you can see I leave these down here, and you can see the deer just chew off everything that's on the lower limbs, which does shock the tree. This pear really should have been thinned. Another apple, sumac. More apples, honey locust. There are high bush cranberry bushes at the base of these. Another apple. Now we don't irrigate this area at all, and it's been another drought this year. Another apple here. Oh, the ginkgos. I should have mentioned the ginkgos. So we passed by a ginkgo over in the first food forest that I didn't mention. This is one of our Asian pears here. I really love the Asian pears. They're just amazing. Like a cross between a pear and an apple. Another one of our Asian pears here. So I've got those still being protected. Another apple here. There's apples over there as well. Let's see. More apples. There's a cherry there. What do we have here? Is this one of my persimmons? I think this is one of my persimmons. Well, yes, it definitely is one of the persimmons here. Another apple here. Now we got a grapevine growing up. I really do have challenges with these grapevines. And this is an orange quince here. Another apple. Inside of this, oh, that is another apple right here. Another persimmons tree right here. A red bud. What do we have here? Geez, it's one of my cherries. Then a pawpaw here. Lots of baby pawpaws down in the ground here that I'm going to have to transplant. Whole bunch of them here. Honey locust right here. Sorry, I'm trying to move the camera around. And I really neglected to get in here and do the appropriate pruning of this one. Took some heavy damage. This is one of our peaches. A pluot here. A persimmons here. Honey locust. Apple. This is that red bud that I showed you. And this is one of my Asian pears. Looks like it's had some difficulties here. This is another one of the Asian pears. And these droughts make the fruit pretty small, but boy, is it delicious. So, almost ripe. There's another Asian pear here. So if we only took the time to thin and got a little more water, another orange quince, we'd do pretty well. I forgot to go up the other side of the honey lot. So there's just cherries and plums and pluots and plumes, apricot plum crosses, and more apples up in there. Over here, and this is a swale. So that's pond 5 over here. Pond 6 is down in that direction, so this is a swale, a drainage swale right here. And this is the almond forest. So these are, although there are other trees in here as well. So this is an almond here. Almond, 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 apple, almond, and these are all blueberry bushes. Some of them are bigger than the rest. Another almond right here, blueberry bush. Hoping the camera's working out. I'm trying to walk through here pretty quickly so this isn't too long. Another almond tree right in here. And again, I haven't done any of the weeding down in here, and I have to rethink my management of weeds, so it's easier to just come in and mow around. And the blueberry bushes, these are our native blueberry bushes that do extremely well. Another almond here. This is one of our original almonds. These are all Hall's hardy almonds, except for a couple of all-in-one almond trees. More blueberry bushes, apple tree, blueberry bush, pawpaw down in here, Russian mulberry tree right here. Hoping this stuff shows up. Pawpaw right here. Another apple tree, blueberry, another almond, another apple, another almond, 2 more almonds and blueberry bushes in between, another almond and oak, another almond here, and a few more almonds right up in here. So that gives you a pretty good idea of the first food forest. I didn't show you everything, but at least we got a look around. And you know the orientation on the western side of that one swell is predominantly almond trees over in here, which, you know, unfortunately I just haven't had the time to get over in here. All the cages got to be moved out. I'm thinking about removing some of the blueberry bushes, the native blueberry bushes that are in between the almonds, because it'd probably be easier for me to just take the mower and go around each almond tree in the future to keep a lot of the weeds down. But I haven't figured it all out yet. And time is so precious that I really have to think about how I want to have the design for everything so that I'm not spending too much time doing things that really require fuel or maintenance, those sorts of things. So without going any further, that's it. A quick tour of our first food forest. I'll try and go up into the second and into the third food forest as well, and maybe do another video. Wow. I just saw 2 birds go hit a limb on one of the apple trees there. The one bird grabbed the limb, the other bird grabbed the apple, and they're dropping them. I think I startled them. So anyways, enough of the food forest and me chatting here at this point. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I hope you folks are staying safe and healthy, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Take care now. Bye-bye.